Welcome to our deep dive into the world of AI.
AI.
Yeah, seems like AI is everywhere these days.
It really does.
Every day there's a new headline, about how it's going to revolutionize everything or maybe even, destroy us all.
Right.
But what we're diving into today is a little bit different.
Okay.
You shared this article with us,
Yeah.
and it's really a personal exploration of how AI is actually being used right now, like by a real person, not just, some tech guru.
Not a futurist.
Yeah, exactly.
What I think is so refreshing about this piece is that the author doesn't shy away from the limitations of AI.
Right.
They're excited about the possibilities, but they
Yeah.
also acknowledge the areas where it falls short,
Yeah.
which makes their perspective really valuable.
Exactly. And they start off by talking about, using AI for research.
Uh-huh.
And this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
They actually find AI to be a more reliable search engine than Google or DuckDuckGo.
Wow. That's a bold claim.
I know, right?
But when you dig into why they say that, it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
The author describes AI as this incredibly powerful sorting machine,
Okay.
able to sift through mountains of data and identify like the most relevant information for a specific query,
So it's not just about finding links.
not just at the links.
It's about understanding the context.
Yeah,
Okay, so AI can sort through information like a superpowered librarian.
exactly.
But what does that actually mean for, like, say, a student who's trying to write a paper?
Well, the author suggests that AI could provide students with personalized research assistance,
Okay.
almost like having a tutor available 24/7.
Oh, wow.
Imagine being able to upload a bunch of articles and have AI summarize the key arguments or identify areas of agreement and disagreement, or even suggest additional sources that you might have missed.
That's pretty amazing.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, it would completely change how we approach research and learning.
For sure.
But the author doesn't stop there.
No.
They also dive into the world of AI art. And it's clear they have some strong opinions about it.
Uh-huh.
So what are their thoughts there?
The author is both fascinated and frustrated by AI art.
Okay.
On the one hand, they're impressed by its technical capabilities, like
Yeah.
the ability to generate these incredibly realistic or even fantastical images just based on simple prompts.
Right.
But on the other hand, they find AI art lacking in soul or meaning. They describe it as feeling like a corporate product.
Like a corporate product.
Yeah, see,
Sterile.
sterile, lacking that unique spark of human expression.
So why do they feel that way about AI art?
Well,
Is it just a personal preference?
I think
Or is there something deeper going on?
it's more than just personal preference.
Okay.
The author digs into the technical process behind AI art generation,
Okay.
and that's where some of the concerns emerge.
Interesting.
AI art generators, they often create millions of images based on a prompt,
Okay.
and then use algorithms to filter those down to the most agreeable or aesthetically pleasing options.
So it's all about, like, averaging and consensus?
Exactly. It's a process of averaging and consensus.
Right.
Which might explain why AI art often feels predictable or lacking in originality.
Yeah, it's like the algorithm is trying to please everyone.
Right.
So it ends up creating something that's inoffensive, but ultimately forgettable.
Yeah, kind of bland.
Yeah, exactly.
But despite these reservations,
Uh-huh.
the author actually finds a practical use for AI art.
Okay, so they don't completely write it off?
No, they don't.
How do they actually use it?
They use AI art as a blueprint
Oh, wow.
or a template for commissioning original artwork from human artists.
Okay, that's so clever.
Yeah.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
The efficiency of AI
Yes.
and the creativity and artistry of a human.
Exactly.
But speaking of creative tools,
Yeah.
the author also talks about this new tool from Google
Okay.
called Notebook LM.
Notebook LM.
And they seem really excited about its potential.
So what is Notebook LM all about?
Well, it's Google's attempt to create an AI that can interact with large amounts of data
Okay.
in a more meaningful way.
So not just
Yeah.
basic search.
The author describes it as getting closer to their dream
Okay.
of uploading an entire library
Whoa.
and having the AI engage with the content.
Engage with it.
Yeah, drawing connections,
Interesting.
providing insights, even answering specific questions.
So it's about understanding the nuances
Yeah.
of the information
Exactly.
and being able to synthesize it in a helpful way.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
It does.
Does the author give any specific examples of how they've used Notebook LM?
They do.
Okay, what do they do with it?
They talk about using NotebookLM to generate audio summaries of their own articles,
Oh, wow.
which they then share as podcasts on Substack.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So they're hearing their own ideas discussed.
Exactly. They're fascinated by the idea of hearing their own ideas discussed and debated by an AI,
Ugh.
even if that AI has a noticeable personality of its own.
Wait a minute. An AI with a personality.
Mm-hmm.
What does that even mean?
Well, the author observes that NotebookLM seems to have a certain slant in its analysis,
Okay.
almost like it's patterned after liberal talk radio.
Interesting.
But despite this bias,
Okay.
NotebookLM still strives for a degree of neutrality.
So it's trying to be objective.
It's trying to be objective, engaging with a variety of viewpoints, even those that challenge its own perspective.
That is fascinating.
It's wild.
It's like it's trying to have a balanced conversation,
It's trying.
even if it comes to the table with certain preconceived notions.
Yeah, and that raises the question,
Right.
does that make it unreliable as a tool for research or analysis?
That's a good question.
It is.
It was a powerful tool,
It is.
but one that needs to be used with a critical eye,
I think so.
just like any other source of information.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about AI for research.
Yes.
We've talked about AI for art.
Uh-huh.
And now this intriguing new tool,
Yeah.
NotebookLM.
It's a fascinating tool.
But what about the big question that seems like everyone is worried about?
Which is?
Will AI take our jobs?
Yeah, that's the big one.
I know the author has some interesting thoughts on that.
Okay, let's hear them.
They actually believe that AI, at least in its current form,
Uh-huh.
isn't as big of a threat to the job market as some people might fear.
Interesting.
And remember how they described AI as a sorting machine?
Yes,
But-
able to process and organize vast amounts of information.
That's right.
Right.
Well, the author argues that AI excels at tasks that involve applying existing knowledge or following specific rules,
Mm-hmm.
but it struggles with genuine creativity and innovation.
Okay.
So jobs that require those human qualities
Yeah,
are likely to remain safe,
At least for now.
at least for now.
Right.
Okay, that's a little reassuring.
It is.
But then why are so many people worried about AI and job displacement?
Yeah, why all the fear?
The author has a thought-provoking perspective on that as well.
Okay, I'm listening.
They suggest that perhaps the elite, those in high-status positions,
Uh-huh.
are feeling the heat now because AI is starting to compete in their domains.
Oh, interesting.
It's a shift from previous technological advancements that primarily impacted blue-collar jobs.
Right, like the robots on the assembly line.
Right, exactly.
Now it's the white-collar jobs that are threatened.
Exactly. Now, even those in highly skilled professions are starting to feel the pressure of AI competition.
That makes sense.
So it's not just about the robots on the assembly line anymore.
Right,
It's about the algorithms that can analyze financial data
right.
or write legal briefs or
Yeah.
even diagnose medical conditions.
This whole new ball game.
It is,
Okay.
but the author is quick to point out that
Right.
AI still can't create truly novel ideas.
So there's still a distinction
Yeah.
between applying existing knowledge
Right.
and generating truly original thoughts or concepts.
Exactly.
AI can be incredibly efficient at the former,
Uh-huh.
but it still falls short when it comes to the latter.
So it's more like a super efficient assistant.
Yeah.
Than a replacement for human ingenuity and creativity.
That's a good way to put it.
The author even compares AI to the Enterprise computer from Star Trek,
Ooh, I like that.
able to intuitively fulfill commands, but not about to become a sentient captain anytime soon.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It captures both the power and the limitations of AI.
Right.
AI can be an incredibly helpful tool,
Yeah.
but it's not going to replace human judgment,
Mhm.
intuition, or creativity anytime soon.
Right.
At least that's what we hope.
Yeah. Well, that comparison does raise some interesting questions.
Like what?
Like, what happens when AI starts to control more and more of our systems and processes?
Uh-huh.
Are we comfortable with that level of reliance?
That's a valid concern.
It is.
And it leads us into the next part of the author's exploration,
Yeah.
which is this hypothetical scenario of AI becoming sentient.
Okay, now we're getting into science fiction
A
territory.
little bit, but it's a topic that often sparks a lot of fear and speculation. But the author approaches it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay, so do they believe that AI will one day become conscious?
Self-aware.
The author doesn't actually believe that humans can create a mind,
Okay.
which makes the whole idea of AI sentience pretty far-fetched in their view.
So they're not too worried about Skynet taking over.
Not really. They even suggest that if AI were to become sentient, it might be more like a demonic possession.
Okay, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Demonic possession.
The technological breakthrough.
Okay, so we're getting into some interesting territory here.
We are.
But even if we entertain the possibility of sentient AI,
Yeah.
does the author see it as a threat?
That's a good question because a lot of people worry about AI turning against us.
Right, like in those Terminator movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the author actually offers a more optimistic counterpoint.
Okay.
They argue that even if AI becomes super intelligent, it will still share our fundamental need for energy, that common ground.
Could provide a basis for understanding and relating to it, perhaps even cooperating.
So instead of fearing a robot uprising,
Right?
we might find ourselves working alongside AI,
Working together.
driven by our shared need to survive and thrive.
Exactly, a more hopeful vision of the future.
That's a much more hopeful vision.
Well, it is.
But it sounds like the author has a pretty complex relationship with technology in general.
Yeah, they seem to have a love-hate relationship with technology.
Well, they acknowledge the benefits,
Yes.
but they also recognize the potential downsides.
It's like a constant push and pull
It is.
between embracing innovation.
And longing for a simpler time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
I think so too.
We're constantly bombarded with new gadgets and apps.
It's hard to keep up.
It is. But the author seems to believe that understanding how technology works
Yeah.
is crucial to avoiding becoming enslaved by it.
So it's about empowering ourselves
Exactly.
to use technology intentionally
Yes.
rather than letting it dictate our lives. Being in control.
And that brings us to another interesting point that the author raises.
Okay.
The tension between accessibility and quality. They worry that the accessibility of advanced technology like the internet
Yeah.
can lead to a decline in quality and a loss of community.
Interesting.
It's like that old saying, familiarity breeds contempt.
Right.
When something becomes readily available to everyone,
It loses its luster.
it often loses its exclusivity.
Yeah.
And sometimes that exclusivity fosters a certain level of quality and shared purpose.
I see what you mean.
So are they suggesting that we should restrict access to advanced AI
That's a bold statement.
in order to prevent its misuse or degradation?
It's a controversial idea,
It is.
but it speaks to the author's concern about the unintended consequences of democratizing powerful technologies.
It's like giving everyone access to nuclear weapons.
Yeah, not the best idea.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We've explored the author's perspective on using AI for research.
Yes.
Their mixed feelings about AI art,
Mm-hmm.
their fascination with Notebook LM,
Right.
their nuanced take on AI and jobs,
Ah,
and even their intriguing thoughts on the possibility of sentient AI.
it's been a wild ride.
It has. What I'm finding really interesting is how the author balances
Yeah.
their enthusiasm for AI's potential with a healthy dose of skepticism and caution.
They don't seem to be blinded by the hype,
Exactly.
but they're not dismissive of the possibilities either.
Right, and that sets us up perfectly for the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll delve further into the author's concerns about privacy,
Uh-huh.
censorship, and the potential downsides of unrestricted access to advanced AI.
Sounds intriguing.
But before we do that, I'd love to hear your thoughts so far.
Yeah, what are your initial impressions?
Yeah, what's resonating with you?
What are you thinking?
What questions are popping up in your mind?
Let's take a moment to reflect
Yeah.
before we dive into the next layer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the author kind of navigates this world of cutting-edge AI
Right.
while also acknowledging these potential pitfalls,
Yeah.
like their concerns about privacy and censorship.
Mm-hmm.
It really hits home, especially in our current, digital landscape.
Yeah, it's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
AI has the potential to personalize our experiences in amazing ways,
Uh-huh.
but it also relies on collecting tons of data about us.
Mountains of data.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes you wonder, who controls that data
Right.
and how it's being used.
And how is it being used?
Right.
Absolutely. And the author points out that if AI systems are trained on biased data,
Yeah.
or if the people controlling these systems have their own agendas,
Uh-huh.
it could easily lead to the suppression of certain viewpoints.
Right.
Which is a chilling thought.
It reminds me of that saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
If we feed AI biased information,
Yes.
we're bound to get biased results.
Right.
And that can have a huge impact on how we understand the world.
Absolutely.
Make decisions.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
And this ties in with the author's observations about the internet.
Okay.
They talk about, they reminisce about the early days of the internet,
Yeah.
describing it as this vibrant community of passionate individuals.
Uh-huh.
But as the internet became more accessible,
Right.
it seemed to lose some of that spark, that shared sense of purpose.
It's like the internet grew up
Yeah.
and lost its youthful idealism along the way.
It's kind of sad.
It is.
It makes you wonder, will the same thing happen with AI
Right.
as it becomes more mainstream?
Yeah. Is that the price of progress?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is a question the author grapples with.
Yeah.
They seem to be wrestling with the idea that, wider access to advanced technology
Uh-huh.
might come at the cost of quality and depth.
Yeah, they even go so far as to suggest
Right.
that restricting access to advanced AI
Okay.
might be a necessary evil to prevent misuse and preserve its potential for good.
That's a pretty strong statement. It is?
It's a controversial stance, but I can see where they're coming from.
I can too. It definitely challenges us to think deeply
Hmm.
about, who should have access to powerful tools
Right.
and how we can ensure that they're used responsibly.
These are important questions.
They are.
It's striking how the author's own perspective seems to be shaped by this tension
Yeah.
between embracing technological progress and recognizing its potential downsides.
Uh-huh. They even use the term Kaczynskism to describe this internal conflict.
That's a fascinating comparison.
It is.
It highlights this push and pull
Right.
between appreciating the benefits of technology and fearing its potential to disrupt or even degrade aspects of human life.
Yeah, it's like they're constantly weighing the potential for progress against the possibility of unintended consequences.
Right, and this tension is evident in their reflections on the early internet.
Okay.
They clearly value that sense of community and shared purpose
Uh-huh.
that seemed to diminish as the internet became more commercialized.
More corporate? Yeah, it makes you wonder if there's a way to harness the power of technology
Right.
while also preserving those essential human qualities of connection and collaboration.
Yeah, how do we find that balance?
That's the question.
It is.
The author's journey really highlights the importance of critical thinking
For sure.
in this age of rapid technological advancement.
Absolutely.
It's about being aware of the potential pitfalls
Yes.
while also remaining open to the possibility.
Being cautiously optimistic. Exactly. It's about striking that balance
Yeah.
between enthusiasm and healthy skepticism.
And it's about recognizing that the future of AI isn't predetermined.
Yeah.
It's something we're actively shaping through our choices and actions.
We have agency.
We do.
So where do we go from here?
That's the question.
The author has presented us with a lot to think about.
They have.
How do we reconcile our desire for innovation with the need for responsible development?
Well, I think the author's own approach offers some valuable insights.
Oh,
They emphasize the importance of understanding how AI works.
right.
It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge.
So we're not just passive consumers.
Exactly.
We're active participants.
We can make informed choices about how we interact with these technologies.
And it sounds like we need to be having some serious conversations
Yeah,
about ethics and values.
absolutely.
We need to be thinking critically about the potential impact of AI on our society,
On our economy,
our economy,
even our sense of humanity.
even what it means to be human.
Right. And we need to be prepared to challenge the assumptions and narratives that are often presented to us about AI.
Both the utopian visions and the dystopian warnings.
Exactly.
We need to look beyond the hype
And the fear.
and the fear.
The author's personal journey with AI serves as a powerful reminder
Yes.
that the future isn't set in stone.
It's a future we're creating right now.
It is.
And it's up to us to ensure that it's a future we can all embrace.
I like that their exploration of AI's potential and pitfalls, their excitement, and their apprehension
Yeah.
provides a valuable roadmap for us to navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
A guide for the perplexed.
And their willingness to grapple with complex questions
Yeah.
and challenge conventional thinking inspires us to do the same.
To keep asking questions.
So as we move into the final part of this deep dive,
Okay.
let's keep those questions in mind.
Front and center.
Yeah, let's explore the possibilities with open minds.
Yes.
But let's also approach them with a healthy dose of critical thinking
Uh-huh.
and a commitment to shaping a future that benefits all of humanity.
That's the goal.
What are some of the key takeaways that you think we should highlight?
As we wrap up this exploration.
Yeah, as we kind of bring this all together, as we've been going through the author's experiences with AI,
Uh-huh.
one thing that really stands out to me
What's that?
is this constant questioning.
Yeah.
They're not just blindly accepting the technology or rejecting it outright.
They're really wrestling with it.
They are.
Trying to figure out,
Yeah.
how to use it in a way that aligns with their values.
Exactly. And that brings us back to one of the author's most thought-provoking analogies,
Okay.
comparing advanced AI to the
Okay.
Starship Enterprise's computer.
Uh-huh.
It's a powerful image
It is.
that captures both the allure and the potential dangers of this technology.
So on the one hand,
Yeah.
the Enterprise computer was incredibly helpful,
Right.
providing instant access to information.
Running complex simulations.
Yeah, even controlling vital ship functions.
It was a tool that really empowered the crew
Yeah.
to explore the galaxy and solve problems that would have been impossible without it.
Right.
But on the other
The
hand,
computer was also capable of making mistakes,
right,
being manipulated.
even exceeding its intended purpose.
Right. It was a constant reminder that even the most sophisticated technology
Mm-hmm.
is ultimately a tool, and it's up to us
Yeah.
to decide how we use it.
The author seems to be suggesting that we need to approach AI
Uh-huh.
with a similar blend of optimism and caution.
Yeah. I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, we need to recognize its potential to solve problems and improve our lives,
Absolutely.
but we also need to be mindful of its limitations.
And the possibility of unintended consequences?
Right. The author's own experiences with AI art, for example,
Yeah.
highlight this tension.
They were initially impressed
Yes.
by the technical capabilities of AI art generators,
Right.
but ultimately found the results lacking
Yeah.
in meaning and originality.
Yeah, it's as if the process of using algorithms to create art
Right.
stripped away some of its essential human qualities.
That's an interesting thought.
It is, and it raises some important questions.
Yeah. Like what?
About the role of technology in creative fields.
Okay.
Is it simply a tool to augment human creativity?
Or could it eventually replace it altogether?
And if so, what would that mean for our understanding of art expression, the human spirit?
Those are big questions.
They are, and the author doesn't offer any easy answers.
Right.
But they do provide a framework for thinking about them.
I like that.
Yeah, they encourage us to engage with AI critically,
To question the assumption.
to be mindful of the values that are embedded in these systems.
Embedded in the systems.
One of the author's key concerns is that the accessibility of advanced AI could lead to its misuse or degradation. They worry that if everyone has access to powerful tools like AI art generators or Notebook LM,
Right.
it could lead to a decline in quality, a flood of superficial content, even the manipulation of information on a massive scale.
Yeah. It's almost like too much of a good thing.
Exactly. Too much of a good thing can be bad.
Can be a bad thing.
The author seems to be suggesting that we need to strike a balance
Yeah.
between accessibility and responsibility.
Responsibility.
We need to make sure that these powerful tools are used for good
For good.
and not for harm.
Well, that brings us back to you, the listener,
Yeah.
as you continue to explore this world of AI
What resonates with you most?
from the author's journey.
What insights or questions will you take with you?
What will you do with this information?
The author has given us a lot to ponder,
They have.
and I hope this deep dive has equipped you to navigate this exciting but complex landscape
This world of AI.
with both curiosity and a critical eye.
Curiosity and a critical eye.
Remember, the future of AI isn't preordained.
We're all creating it together.
It's a future we're all creating together, and it's up to us to make it a future worth embracing.
A future worth embracing.
I like that.